Okay, so this segment is on their bedrooms. I call them their bedrooms. I know that's kind of silly, but I do. I call them their bedrooms. This particular discussion is about what I think that any horse should at least have as far as their living situation is concerned. So I'm a real stickler about horses in box stalls. I do not want horses in box stalls, period, at all, period. So, buddy, I know, you're so good. So as long as they have an outdoor space, any outdoor space, even if it's a 10 by 10 space, 12 by 24 is sort of standard for their runs. I like a 12 by 24 run. It's really nice. I'm going to show you in a moment. We like welded wire, but I will do almost anything not to put my horses in actual box stalls. And even if they're getting turned out all day long, they're still in the box stall at least 16 hours a day. You know, if they're turned out 8 a day, there's still 16 hours that they're stuck in a box stall. And I feel strongly that every horse wants to be able to go outside. They really want the option of standing in their bedroom or standing in their paddock. And if you watch horses, often, you know, they want to stay in their paddocks. They want to be out there. And certain horses obviously want to spend more time out there. But that's a pretty important part of my philosophy, is not putting horses into box stalls, giving them at least some sort of a space to go outside. It doesn't have to be an enormous space, but some sort of a space. So this is a really nice setup. It's big and it's airy and it's open. Horses like to put their heads out. Horses don't like to be locked in behind bars. So if they can put their heads out, he's a poser. Look how gorgeous he is. If they can put their heads out, they're that much happier. So you see how this is, you know, this is an old barn, so it's got the wood beams, but this is really wonderful. It's big and open and airy. And then the stalls at this barn are 12 by 16, which is considered oversized. So, I mean, how fabulous is that? A 12 by 12 is the minimum. You don't want a stall to be smaller than 12 by 12. In the olden days, our stalls were 10 by 10, but our horses were a lot smaller. So now a 10 by 10 stall looks really itty bitty. When you go to the horse shows and they've got the barns set up, the portable barns, those are 10 by 10s, and they feel really tiny. So these are 12 by 16. So on, we're going to go in with Mr. Gorgeous Dom. So my row, they're all 12 by 16s, quite wonderful. Come on, buddy. You know, and it's an old barn, so the walls are beat up. We don't care. It doesn't matter if the walls are beat up. This barn, they did put up these rubber mats on the wall. At some point, a horse was kicking the wall, and that's perfectly fine as well. Come on, Mr. Man. I hang buckets for them before I leave. I give them a little half a scoop of a treat type of grain. So I hang buckets for them. And then the water, very important. Please give them these deeper buckets of water. Not the old-fashioned kind. Remember the old-fashioned kind, the self-fills are just those little small saucers, metal saucers. In the olden days, some of you guys don't remember this, in the olden days, do you remember they had that little tongue that the horses had to push down on? Cut. Yes, to pee-pee.
I'll keep rolling, but I'll...
Yes, to pee-pee right now.
Look at you standing all wide to pee-pee.
Right now. Well, he's being shy.
Are you a shy peer?
He doesn't know if he can pee with us. Come on, you can do it, buddy. Oh, what a relief it is.
I feel your relief.
Oh,
So fun if you pee.
we had to pee right then. Right then. Good boy. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little potty break. Mr. Dom needed to pee-pee. So we took a little pee-pee break. You can go out, Dom. Oh, you can go out, buddy, bud. Okay, so the waters. You guys remember in the olden days, they were the little round waterers, and they actually had to push down on that lever to get the water to come out. They hadn't created floaters yet, I guess. We don't do that anymore. The little ones with the floaters, I really prefer that the horse can put their entire face in the water bucket. I don't want them to have to wait for the water bowl to refill while they're drinking water. So we might as well talk about this while we're at it. So water, obviously. Water, extraordinarily important. If your horse doesn't drink, they're not gonna make it. So anytime that you can encourage your horse to drink,
Oh, stop. It's okay, buddy. Okay.
buddy, that's not gonna work.
Go ahead.
Anytime. Should we lock him out? Excuse me. I know, you're friendly and sweet.
I know, I love you too.
Go do something. Go on. Yeah, go on. Back to water. We had to shoo Dom out because he wanted to stand in on his spit. It's not gonna work out. It's not. It's not gonna work out. Anything you can do to encourage your horse to drink. All right. So these self-fills are really wonderful, I think, because they can drink their fill without having to wait for the water to refill. And so if they can just get as much water in them as humanly possible. If you want to self-fill water buckets, great, that's fabulous. Some people like to do that because they want to be able to monitor how much water that their horse is actually drinking each day. And so some people hang water buckets, some people have, the big tubs on the ground. I love these. I love these self-fill deep water buckets. This is sort of my water bucket of choice. You don't have to worry about it ever being empty because it self-fills, and it's deep enough that they can shove their whole face in it if they want and drink their fill. So there's water. You see how wonderful this stall is. Anna will sort of pan around. This barn beds better than any barn I've ever been at. So you see, they really bed them up. The size, the 12 by 16 size is really nice that the horse has some extra room. Bedding. It's so hard for me to see horses that don't have bedding. I know a lot of the mare motels, mare motels are just sort of the more portable barns that people set up sometimes that are 12 by 24, and sometimes part of it's covered, sometimes part of it's not. And they're usually just the pipe panels between the horses. And a lot of times they just will put mats down. Horses love to curl up in their shavings. They do. I'm sorry. I know it's considered a luxury, but horses want to curl up in their shavings, and they don't want to lay on mats without shavings. So if you can please give your horse some sort of a shaving for them to sleep in, even just a little tiny area so that when they lay down they can curl up, that would be fabulous. Obviously none of this has to do with horses living in pasture. So if horses live in pasture, they're laying out in the sand and the dirt and the grass, and that's absolutely wonderful. I'm discussing horses more in a performance horse type of environment. The person that was here before put up one of these Himalayan salt blocks. Often my horses won't touch salt blocks at all. They just sit there forever. Sometimes horses actually eat them which is too much salt. They'll actually eat the darn thing. Sometimes horses that are really mouthy will actually eat the salt block. I find more often than not that if your horse is getting enough salt in their diet, the salt block usually just sits there. He's never touched that salt block. Okay, so we're going to shoo Mr. Dom out, and we're going to talk about the paddock part. Can I shoo you out, Mr. Dom? If I walk out, he'll follow me, I think. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy boy. Here we go. Come on. So, horses like to be able to walk outside when they feel like it. Some horses want to stand in the pouring rain. They love to stand in the pouring rain. Some horses want to bake in the sun. But horses want the option to walk outside. Now, I do know of a barn that literally was a 10 by 10 outdoor space. Literally, I mean, they could walk out into this little 10 by 10 space. Well, guess what? Good enough, in my opinion, good enough. As long as they can step out of their stall into the environment, I'm happy. This is a lot better. This is the biggest spot that we have in this row. Perhaps a barn, I'm not sure. This is a really, really good spot. You see how big it is. I'm not even going to guess. I think it's a double. So it would be, if the normal run is 12 by 24, it would be 2 of those. 48 by 24. 24 by 48. So this is, so now you have to have poo-poos. So first you had to have pee-pees in his shavings. That's the other thing about shavings. They want to pee in their shavings. Otherwise, the pee splashes up on their legs. They don't like it. So if you give them shavings, it gives them a place to pee. They're much happier. A lot of horses come outside to have their poo-poos. So this would be, that's the best math that I can do. That's like as much math as I can do is doubling 12 by 24. So this is a 24 by 48 space. Welded wire, we love it. I don't know who put the mats up. Clearly a horse was kicking at some point. If horses kick the walls, you can put these rubber mats up, and it protects not only the fence, but it protects the horse's body. But you see it's welded wire, and we love it. Welded wire is relatively new. I'm aging myself, I know. In the olden days, we put no climb fencing up. Welded wire is infinitely more wonderful. The panels come with the welded wire already on there. It's much stronger. It doesn't break off and get dangerous the way that no climb fencing does. This is really quite delightful. And then Anna will show, I mean, they've got $1 million views at this barn. It's really, really beautiful here. Thank you for being such a good backdrop. Being really good. And then, yes, give them neighbors. They want to be able to touch noses. So Anna will turn around, and there's Smokey. They want to be able to touch noses. And then over past Smokey, if Anna walks over here, you'll see the Morgan Legacy. And then the other two aren't mine. They're with Siri Larson, the other trainer. And then there on that side, you see Mr. Sebastian. And the shy little pony Apache just went into his bedroom. Doesn't matter if it looks kind of shabby. We don't care. They're barns. It doesn't matter if things have gotten kind of beat up. It doesn't matter as long as it's safe. And the welded wire is super safe. They've been sunk into the ground with the posts. Very, very, very safe. Very nice. So if Anna comes over here, and then she can shoot towards the barn, and they have that wonderful bedroom to walk into. Really very, very nice. You guys see these plastic pieces? Leave Anna alone. See the plastic pieces on the top, Anna? See them? Mm-hmm. Those are for hot wire. So a lot of people do put hot wire up along the top to keep the horses from playing with each other too much. Some people put hot wire here Like there are those little plastic things that stick out to about here, and you can put a row of hot wire here if you want to keep your horses off your fences or if they're playing too hard. See how Dom is relaxed and happy out here? I mean, he can just kind of sunbathe and chill out. So I love these bedrooms. In my opinion, these are the ultimate bedrooms. Now, these ones are only 12 by 24, which is perfectly sufficient and lovely. We love the 12 by 24s. They don't have to be 24 by 48. 12 by 24 is perfectly fine. Yeah, Mr. Legacy trying to show off and say hello. All right, so I think that's our segment, Anna. I think that's our segment on bedrooms. We got a segment on water. That was good. We sort of blended bedrooms and water, so this will be labeled something like bedrooms and water. And yeah, I think that's good for now. So we'll see you next time.